Hello everyone, I hope this finds you all doing well. Many years ago I came across a poem entitled Footprints in the Sand. I still remember the impact it had on me the very first time I read it. It was a very well-known poem then, and my guess is even more well-known today. But just in case you're not familiar with it, it told the story of a man who dreamt he was walking along the beach with the Lord. As they walked together, the sky flashed scenes from his life. For each scene he noticed two sets of footprints in the sand, one belonging to him and the other to the Lord. When the last scene of his life flashed before him, he looked back at the footprints in the sand. He noticed that many times along the path of his life there was only one set of footprints. He also noticed that it happened at the very lowest and saddest times in his life. As you might guess, this really bothered him, and he questioned the Lord about it. Lord, you said that once I decided to follow you, you would always walk with me. But I've noticed that during the most troublesome times of my life, there is only one set of footprints. I don't understand why, when I needed you most, you would leave me. The Lord looked at him lovingly and said, My son, my precious child, I love you and I would never leave you. During your times of trial and suffering, when you see only one set of footprints, it was then that I carried you. For some reason, I was really surprised by the way it ended. I kind of just went, wow. I'm not so sure why it was so unexpected for me, but it was. It just so happened that at the time, Fatima and I were planning our wedding, so we asked the priest, Father Dennis Heron, to read footprints during our ceremony. He was the priest then at the Holy Name Church in Brooklyn where we were married. I remember as Father read the poem that April afternoon, I made it a point to look out into the pews to see how everyone was reacting. Some people were smiling knowingly as Father read on, so I kind of figured they had heard the poem before and knew it was coming. Others sat there listening intently, which made me think that perhaps they were hearing it for the first time, as I had too, not so long ago. And when Father Heron finally finished, I saw it must have been the same surprised look on my face, on the faces of many of our family and friends. And as I think back to that moment today, it brings me back to another period in my life that was probably the most difficult I've ever experienced. I was blessed with wonderful parents, and we were very close. I really enjoyed being around them. Fatima and I would go out to dinner with them and would even take in a movie together. Life as a young man was about as good as it could get. But sadly, it didn't last very long when one night my father went to sleep and didn't wake up. Then, 2 years later, my mom got sick and passed away not long after. To say that this was a devastating time for both myself and my family would be an understatement. And to be completely honest with you all, I had a really hard time coping with their deaths. And while the feeling of loss I felt deep inside of me never went away, over time I did learn to live with it. Now, back to the footprints in the sand. So if I were to walk along the beach with the Lord at the end of my life, watching the scenes of my time spent here on earth play out before me, I'm certain that during this period, and a few scenes that would follow in later years, I would see only one set of footprints in the sand too. How can I be so sure? Because the Word of God tells me so. In the book of Joshua, we are encouraged by this promise. Do not fear nor be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. I don't believe we can ask for anything more than that. So whenever you are going through a really difficult time, when life seems to overwhelm you, whether that's right now or in the future, have faith the good Lord is with you. You may not feel him. I know I didn't back then, but rest assured he is there. And how can you know this for sure? Because God never breaks his promises. Thank you all for listening. Stay safe, and God bless.